what we decided to do is help people, teach them to learn how to do it themselves, to grow for themselves and create a community of people who are helping each other out. The whole idea behind our business is to create a community of people that just love and supports and helps each other grow and just grow as individuals, grow our own medicine, grow an amazing community of just awesomeness everywhere. Really big hippies.
Awesomeness everywhere. That's good.
Open up, Colorado. It's 420. Time to grind and burn.
This is not your son's stoner show.
Welcome to the Grind and Burn, a podcast from the Cannabis Community Project, broadcasting weekly high up from the Dank Studios, 3835 Denver, Colorado, here exploring the business side of this newly emerging economy while living the lifestyle. I'm excited to announce Cushly Odor Eliminator officially as sponsors of the Cannabis Community Project. Give them a welcome. Reach out and say hi. The Cushly?
Cushly.
Here, it looks pretty cool. I think it's actually a better the odor elimination rather than the perfume or the cover-up. I mean, there's nothing more humorous than walking into a room with a heavy smell of incense. It almost gives away what you're doing.
It pretty much tells you what you're doing. Some people who, take a moment and actually write in and say, thank you, and we really appreciate this product, really making a difference for someone. You can find us very easily. info at cushly.com.
Welcome back, Cannapreneurs. Welcome to the Grind and Burn. I'm happy to be here with you this week where we get into a new product line that I'm happy to bring to you. If you're not familiar with the new nanotechnology happening in hemp with various infused type products, with hemp figuring out different, bettering, more efficient ways to get in products, that's what Damon D'Amico is going to bring us this week. Damon, I interviewed him a couple years ago when he was working for Canaway, also another hemp company. He has now switched companies and he has a new product that he wants to talk about. So we'll talk to him in this week's show. And let me remind you officially to be on the lookout for a second podcast coming through the Cannabis Community Project. I have hooked up with B-Trip. B-Trip is going to bring us a podcast that's going to be a little different for some of you. Maybe make a few of you uncomfortable where you sit. B-Trip is bringing us the 424 Play podcast where she is going to dive deep into the world of cannabis, sex, relationships, intimacy, and everything else that comes with being part of the lifestyle. For those of you that knows what that means, that's what B-Trip is going to bring you. And I'm happy to have her on the Cannabis Community Project, overseeing her production as the executive producer. I'll make sure that her show is also of top quality. I'm not going to control the content. I'm not going to censor her. And just because it makes you uncomfortable, I'm not going to move her off my network. We're here to build together. So there's going to be even more shows coming over the months that might not be your cup of tea. So let's make it your cup of THC. Speaking of podcasts and production and everything else we're bringing forward through the Cannabis Community Project, let me encourage all of you to please go to the store or the membership site and get involved in our community. By becoming a member, you not only get all the cool swag, right? The hats, the shirts, the boxes, the gifts, the paraphernalia, and everything else, but you also get to help us as a community grow and keep adding more content, more shows, and more events and parties just for you. Check it out, the CannabisCommunityProject.com webpage. Look for it under membership or go to the store and purchase some Cushly items. Cushly has a new pocket spray coming out with a new sleek model. The pocket spray that's TSA approved, so you can take it on the plane and anywhere you are where you don't like the smells around you, whether it's smoke or anything else, just a couple spritz around you and it goes away. You can find them on their website also, Cushly.com. and thanks to them for being a long-term sponsor of the show. I don't have any rants this week, no long diatribes about the complexities of society and how it intertwines with cannabis. I just want to remind all of you to think about this as not just an industry of money, even though that's what we focus on here, but that there's patience behind this. And we're all patients on some level, so please support your patients and make sure the medical program in your area is thriving and doesn't go away and doesn't get diminished or overshadowed by the recreational program, because that is how it all began, and that is the foundation that even we stand on as business-focused cannapreneurs. It's still about the patient. That's the only message I want to bring you this week. Let's make sure to listen to last week's episode with our short-term memory flashback relapse, our conversation we had with Lorna Shannon from the Women of Weed Street. Check her out, learn about her story, how she got involved in the cannabis industry, how she formed the Women of Weed Street, and what that message is bringing to the community. Then we'll move into this week's show and learn about making nano CBD out of hemp with this week's guest, Damon D'Amico. Grind and burn cannapreneurs. There's so much we got to get done before the end of the year. We have to keep moving forward. Grind and burn.
I just got home from work. I work at the preschool. Usually my schedule kind of varies between like 8 in the morning and I get out at like 2 or 4, like that. I'm a teacher. I'm a preschool teacher for now. There's, some talk right now. I'm having a meeting on Tuesday with one of the startups in the scene, in the cannabis scene. I might be leaving my preschool teaching job to work in the industry. I'm friends with my boss on Facebook, and like one morning he comes up to me, like, first thing in the morning, and he's just like, "Hey, I really like the way you interview people. You're really good at that." And I'm just like, "Oh, like you've been peeping at my social media. I really like your stuff." So it's like such a strange shift in mentality. So we started Occupy Weed Street in like 2013 when we found out about the bill, the Marijuana Regulation Taxation Act in New York, which would legalize it similar to how Colorado has it, like it, regulated like alcohol. Seeing like that was the whole point. And we started facing like sexual harassment at our own meetings. So basically all the women just kind of banded together and started calling ourselves this thing, Women of Weed Street. And we'd take little Women of Weed Street walks, and like talk about the things that were like pissing us off with these dudes like approaching us and stuff. Side note, at the time, my boyfriend at the time and I, who started this whole thing together, Occupy Weed Street, we were also working as pickup artists.
As what? Makeup? Is that what you said? Makeup artist?
Pickup artists.
Pickup artist. What does that mean?
Yeah. So like in the sort of dating industry, kind of like wingmen, but like life coaches that really teach men how to like appropriately pick up women. And I started talking to people about the idea of reviving Women of Weed Street, but making it an actual thing, not just like a bunch of girls in this political group, but having it be like a blog with interviews and really like trying to tell more women's stories. And it just really resonated with people. So it's like, oh, maybe it's not really over. It's just changing, right?
You're a fascinating person.
I've been really, really, really looking forward to talking to you because I kind of felt like I literally just tripped over your foot on my way out the door, like blowing connection all of a sudden. I'm like, dude, I can't wait to work.
You say that, but now I'm going to have to question if that's true since you're a pickup artist.
Like, I'm so thrilled with all this feedback. Like, you're really just giving me a lot of motivation. I've been intending to do so much of this, but I haven't really had like a fire under my ass because I've been just operating on my own schedule for a while,
I do understand that.
Yeah, but it's like then you start telling people what you do, people start getting interested, and they're like, oh, that's cool. And then you're like, shit, now I gotta actually do all this stuff that I just told people I'm gonna do.
Exactly.
How long have you been listening to the show? Long enough to know that it's your show, and all you got to do to be on it is just reach out to us at cannabiscommunityproject.com or email brainstorm@cannabiscommunityproject.com. Dairy Berries Recording Studio, located in Arvada, Colorado, is your local recording studio with affordable rates. Mark is well experienced and will make your show, music, or any audio you have sound great. Feeling guilty about a time with cannabis? Get it off your chest and confess it on Cannifessions, your public forum to absolve your soul.
New voice message, Wednesday, 4:21 p.m.
Hey, what's up? I'm calling in to make a Cannifession. This is Black and Gold Wildcat. That is my pen name. Just want to call in and confess that I have smoked cannabis illegally on 5 different continents and in international waters as well. So North America, Europe, Africa, Asia, South America, and the Mediterranean Sea, the Caribbean Sea. I just needed to tell somebody that so I don't get arrested by international authorities. So thanks for letting me get that off my chest. Later.
And that was Cannifessions. If you have a confession to make, contact me via Facebook or the website at cannabiscommunityproject.com. How do you survive then?
That's our 501c3. So companies like Sam's Club and big corporations, they've got to donate a certain amount of money to the communities in which they put their stores per year. So being a 501c3, that makes you eligible to meet their requirements for donating to the community. And so we send out letters to those large corporations. We also send out letters to people that, like businesses that use our services. So I'll come in, I'll upgrade a whole office of computers, and we'll ask for donations. If you appreciate our work and if obviously know what it's worth, you go to Geek Squad, and it's insane.
I don't do business with any Best Buy affiliates at all.
Are you saying that just to butter me up?
No, I'm saying that because I had a bad experience with them, and I cut off ties after I went on a 6-month Facebook rant where every day I woke up first thing in the morning, let's make a Best Buy sucks comment in some form or another. I had a tablet, right, that had supposedly the full guarantee plan, whatever. My daughter spilled a cup of water on it, on the board. It just fizzed out. I took it in, and they said, "Oh, it's drinking water. We can't fix it. Not under this plan. You're gonna have to pay the whatever, a few $100 for the repair." I said, "What happened to the guarantee?" "Oh, no, you spilled water on it." "I thought that was part of the whole package, whatever."
Do you think that there's some people that are actually robots?
This is outrageous. I cannot take this anymore. To me, that's just a disgusting person.
You do what you gotta do,
Hey, nice. Cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, totally.
Well, we're not hippies, though. We're like tech hippies.
Communicate never know how much you mean. Oh, until you're gone and broken, the story goes unnoticed, so it seems.
CBD turns into THC. I mean, all I know is I'm high all the time and I take CBD all the time and I'm like, and I'm good, you know? It's like, all I know is it's good for you. It's not bad for you. That's the big thing. Like, the stigma is all about it's bad for you. That's all you need to know is it's good for you. It's preventative.
Let's learn about it. And I'm sitting here with my lovely co-host today, Hetty Becca, who's going to join me on the conversation.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks for the opportunity. My name's Damon D'Amico. Originally from Chicago, Illinois, live in Thornton, Colorado. Hemp connoisseur, cannabis connoisseur. I'd like to educate, share the information, and I work for actually a few different cannabis companies. One of the largest, actually the largest hemp farmer in the world. That's what I'm doing in a nutshell.
Excellent. And we've met you before. I forget how long ago it was. Must have been a year and a half or so ago when you were working for Canaway.
That's right.
You are no longer with Canaway.
That's correct.
And you're currently working for, what's the name of the company?
So one of the companies I'm working with, the main company is Isodiol International.
And what is their core business?
Sure, it's industrial hemp, CBD, and we have several different products that we're actually using the CBD nanotechnology with.
Nanotechnology CBD. So there's going to have to be a lot of explaining going on. Let's break this down in as simple a language as possible. Let's just establish, first of all, you're dealing exclusively with CBD stuff. Similar to Canaway, but the end result product is what on this?
We're still doing the hemp oil, but what we're doing is we're incorporating the nanotechnology, which is turning the CBD oil into a crystalline. So it's basically a powder form. You can turn that into a liquid form, the Nano Ultra. And from there, we can pretty much do anything because it is becoming a water-soluble product.
So it's like a raw product that can be used.
Yeah, concentrate. It's a concentrate still, a really highly concentrated product.
Where does it sit on the aisle from health to food to kind of vitamin type stuff? Where is it on the spectrum of classification?
It's pretty broad. Yeah, it's real broad because we can do so much with it, especially because we have the water solubility, the nanotechnology. So it's really across the board. Endless possibilities, yeah.
Has anything changed in the last year and a half since we spoke about the federal classification of CBD?
Yeah, that's a great question. There's been a few revisions to a lot of the, exemptions, as you would say. With the Department of Agriculture and the DEA and the FDA, they all came together recently. I think it's only been about a week now. They released a revised edition of, what you can do with hemp and CBD products in the United States. And basically, in a nutshell, what they're saying is in states like Colorado, where we are now, if it's legal to grow hemp based on your permitting, licensing, your university research connection, and everything's in place, if you're doing that legally, you can only use and consume and distribute the product in the state, can't sell or distribute across state border. So any state that's legal right now can do that in their state, but they can't distribute outside of state lines.
To be clear, this is CBD derived from hemp.
Correct.
And that is where the federal, specific law is that the CBD has to be from hemp in order to be sold in all 50 states?
Yes, correct. It has to be classified as industrial hemp and have the university research tied to it for their testing for THC levels. So you remain THC levels throughout the duration of the growing process.
Okay.
So yeah.
Is there any claim yet to health benefits that consuming CBD does anything? I mean, obviously people will say, marijuana will cure cancer and all sorts of other stuff. Is there any claim being made with CBD alone that the company is using as part of their platform?
We actually have a few products in the, phrase this without making medical claims, but in the pain management field,
Right.
where we have a skin cream that we have pain on the marketing, we can actually say pain cream for arthritis.
Okay.
And we've broken through that barrier, which is
Yeah.
pretty cool because that's really huge, being able to make medical claims with
Right.
with a cannabis product.
I guess that's the word I was looking for, medical claims.
Yeah.
Does the company have any medical claims that they're bringing with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
products?
So it's on the skin cream right now. It's called CBD Rapid Skin Cream. It's pretty amazing. I've used it for a few different issues that I've had, and it's pretty darn amazing.
It's hot, cold type?
Cold,
type,
yeah.
right?
It's got menthol in it, so it's cooling. It's a cooling
Okay.
cream with the
sports
CBD.
injuries and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So on the label, I actually have some here, but it's got arthritis, fast pain relief for muscle aches, joint pain, arthritis, back pain, and knee pain. So we're actually able to market it like that. It's cooling pain cream.
And the base ingredient is CBD hemp.
Yeah, the nano with the nanotechnology. Yep, and that's where the Rapid is.
So I think we've established a good base of CBD. So let's slowly work into the nanotechnology. Let's start from the beginning of, is this something new that has been developed, or is this something that's just being revived that has been out there?
That's a great question. The science technology that's behind the nanotechnology, behind CBD nanotechnology, similar to, I don't know if you remember, when they figured out how to crash atoms and create energy and high speed.
The collider?
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. So I guess I'm going to reference it kind of like that because I specifically don't know the exact technology. There's only a few people that know it. But what it is they're taking these molecules, the CBD molecules, and turning them into a nanometer, which is the billionth of a meter. And it's just creating a lot more surface space for the CBD to work. But at the same time, it's creating a water-soluble product. You're turning oil into a powder-based crystalline, which is water-soluble.
That's because of the the process through this nanization.
Yeah. And so, it's pretty amazing what
that's
they
a
can.
phrase.
It's really, there's going to be all kinds of new phrases with it. But so with the crystallization, and with the isolate, it's isolating, the different compounds, and terpenes and all the different things.
Okay.
So with the isolate, hence the name Isodiol, it's isolating the cannabidiol, and there's other terms that go with the ISO as well. You can look into and research. But with the isolate, we are able to take the THC and isolate that completely out without damaging the chemistry of the plant.
I don't know really anything about science from a botany standpoint or how that works. So I guess I'll just have to take the scientist's word for it.
So I have a question, because I always like to relate to things that maybe I'm already familiar with. So when if I was to see a CBD water or nano, would this be something similar to like vitamin water? Like is a process, what process could you relate this to that something already exists? Or is this brand new scientific
that's a great
stuff?
question. So it is really new with being able to take CBD into water because of the oil-based product. Oil and water just doesn't mix. That's what they've been working on for this last 3-4 years since CBD's really been booming on the market. Now that they've been able to turn it into a crystalline, turn it into a water-based product, water-soluble, they can mix it with water and not really have any disadvantage to the product, to the end result. So I believe that with the technology that's incorporated in the water, it's actually one of the best ways you can take the CBD in the body is through the water. Yeah, I think it's a great way to be effective.
Where will this ultimately be sold? In a 7-Eleven, in King Soopers, or in dedicated shops like dispensaries?
I mean, really the possibilities are endless because it doesn't have THC in it, because it's coming from the hemp plant. It can be sold anywhere. It's really nice because a lot of people are researching the waters with high alkaline, so the pH 9, which is included in the water. And that's a big deal right now with cancer and with different health issues. So did you have another question?
I was going to say that I've been hearing a lot about that. People have found out they've been diagnosed with cancer. Like the very first thing they need to do is alkaline their diet, or what does that say?
So yeah, exactly.
Right. So basically they need to have like non-acidic. But this would be something that needs to have is it low alkaline or
high alkaline?
Right.
Yeah.
This is something that they could use in addition to whatever treatment they're using.
Yeah, exactly.
Get this woman a job when we're done here.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad you said it.
You like these type of companies, right? You like the direct sales and
I like the direct sales, but more a cannabis activist. I've been more of an earth kind of environmental activist for, my whole entire life. I was just kind of born into it. Spent a lot of time in Northern California in the Mendocino area, before it got real big. Did a lot of redwood rallies, to save the redwoods, that kind of stuff. So it's something that I've always
very
been
activist driven.
Yeah, and that's the first and foremost thing. It's about, how are we going to save the planet? How are we going to save the people? So when I look at products to sell and I look at the direct sales part of it, it goes hand in hand, because I think that what happens is if you bring products to a corporation, most corporations are in it to make money and they're not in it to help people. And so what happens is they go and they mark up prices and they change products and they don't use biodegradable bottles, and so they don't stand behind their word when they talk about health, and they're just in it to make money. Mm-hmm. And so this is just my research, what I've witnessed over my 42 years of life, however long I've been researching. When I look at a company and I say, okay, am I going to represent that company? I have to look at what is their intention? What is their ultimate intention? What is their goal? And if they're in it to help people and they have real products that help people, well, then I want to be part of that. And so I've seen what's going on with pharmaceutical companies, and I see what's going on with big tobacco companies. I mean, alcohol. I mean, we know what's going on. It's out there. It's the truth. Now it's just a matter of educating more people to understand the benefits and know that cannabis products are not bad. They're actually very good for you. And this other stuff that you're being told is actually good for you is actually really bad for you.
Right.
So it's just re-educating and kind of re-brainwashing people is how I call it, because we're really going through a brainwash again. Another version of a brainwash. It's a good brainwash, though.
Yeah, no, we are brainwashed by labels, I always say.
Yeah.
Like you might see something that's healthy or something that says fat-free or sugar-free, or if it's saying that stuff does not mean it's good for you, it's nutritious.
Not only that, it doesn't mean that's what it is.
Right.
When they say sugar-free, it doesn't mean it's sugar-free.
No, and if they're taking something out, they're putting something in and
to replace it.
That's
not good either.
So it's not even looking at the names of products anymore. No. I don't buy anything until I turn it over and I look at the label. Yeah. And I'm always looking at carbs, sugars, and then the ingredients. I don't care about how many calories. I don't care how much fat is in it. Yeah. I need to know that's information.
Right. And just real quick, tell people over the last 12 months what cutting sugar out of your diet has done.
It's huge. I always hate to go to the weight first, but it's a big thing. 80 pounds, probably. I feel amazing. I feel like I'm 20 again. People tell me I look great. Like I've lost 10 years. Like I've gotten 10 years younger. I'm off all my prescription meds. Yeah, I feel like a new woman.
Just by cutting out sugar.
By cutting out sugar.
That's incredible. No, sugar's poison in it. So that's the other thing, it isn't just about the cannabis. It's, sugar's in over 80% of all of our foods. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be, but they do it because of the addictive properties and because they know it's cheap to produce and they know they can make more of it and make more money. And so when I go back to the intention thing with a corporation, with a company, you have to look at their intentions. You have to look at the testing, the results. Right. Dig in. Like, just because the label says something doesn't mean that's what it is. And so to understand these things, and the way you understand them is you dig deeper and you find out and you research and you really learn about companies and their past, what they've done before and really what their future is, what their intention is. It's going to show in their past.
Yeah, you can be more organically part of a company through a direct sales model than entering a major corporation who's just selling one more product of hundreds of products.
Yeah.
And I guess in that sense, you have no control and you have nothing. You're just a peg in the board.
Yeah.
What is the long run in this type of business? Do you ultimately build a franchise for yourself? Do you just become a national sales leader and build a base of thousands of clients over time?
All of the above. My ultimate goal is to have a lot of land where we can do a hemp farm, where we can do a hemp museum, everything hemp on that farm. It's about the education, but also, this is what's available. Here's the education, but this is what's available now, like the technologies that are coming out, like the nanotechnology. People have to know these things because even the people that are in the cannabis community don't know about nanotechnology. They don't know what's new that's been going on for the last year and a half, and they need to know because they're the ones out there educating people on cannabis.
Right. And forgive me with my short-term memory. I asked a question. I can't remember if it was answered. Is this nanotechnology a new thing?
No, you did, and I kind of answered it a little bit, but it's so as far as I know, the research I've done, it's about 15, 16 months that it's really been public.
So that's fairly new.
There's only 2, maybe 3 companies in the world. We're one of them. them. GW Pharmaceuticals, which is the big one
out of England.
that makes the synthetic cannabis products. So there's only 2 or 3 companies
like
that
the
have
Marinol and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and Sativex and that don't work because they're synthetics. So it goes back to the plant, the whole plant, and all that. Yeah,
and nothing but the plant.
Nothing but the plant. Right. Exactly. The natural compounds. When we're one of 3 companies, really, I think it's only 2 companies that have this technology. It's pretty amazing what you can do with it. The short time that it's been around, people are actually learning about it and actually researching it and seeing how much more beneficial it is versus just regular CBD oil.
How big do you need to get in this before you feel like you're able to have access to your other dream of the land and the hemp museum?
It's just a matter of making the right connections. There's the great thing about this is, from what I know, less than 5% of the world knows what CBD is. Okay, more people obviously know about THC, marijuana, or cannabis. So the good thing about that is that as fast as the technology is coming out and we're learning about the different compounds and all these great things that it can do for all these various different reasons, as fast as that's happening, as rapid as it's happening, anything can happen overnight. I've met people in Mexico. We're doing deals in Mexico right now with the pharmacies because in Mexico and Brazil, our organization was part of changing the law and making it a pharmaceutical product where they are licensed to prescribe hemp oil, hemp products. And so now it's just a matter of labeling to get it across the border.
Yeah.
Labeling it
ironic, very ironic.
It is.
Trying to get drugs that way.
But what's great about it is in Brazil and in Mexico, they've accepted this because in a sense they're a little ahead of us because of
legislative-wise, yes, they're very progressive.
But not only that, but in a sense of healthy living in a native, natural state, how you were at the beginning, okay? And that's what it's really all about when it comes to preventative. So it's not about all these, what's the cure, what's this, what does this do? It's about how healthy can you live?
Yeah.
So out there, what they're doing is in the pharmacies and in the stores, and I've been to these places and in the stores and in the restaurants, it's about health food. In the pharmacies, they sell this stuff right here, the healthy water, the healthy foods, and it's not about a bunch of pills and what does this pill do and what does that pill do? It's not what it's about out there. And for a long time, they've been doing this.
Yeah.
So now all I had to do is make a connection through social media with one person, and I have the opportunity to be in just about every pharmacy in Mexico. So the answer is it can happen overnight.
Well,
I can
Mexico,
get my farm and do the museum, and who knows?
I forget the exact date, but sometime in the last 5 years, they passed legislation making all drugs in small quantities legal, from marijuana to cocaine to heroin to even PCP in small personal use legal because they're fighting a bigger battle and too much resources are being consumed with these small individuals. So in a lot of ways, they're very progressive in that sense.
Yeah.
And I think health-wise, there's a lot of sick people in Mexico that I know of also.
Well, there's a big drug problem out there too, though, with real harmful drugs.
Yeah.
So that's the big difference, though.
And fake drugs is a big industry also.
Synthetics, yes.
Not synthetics, I mean like fake drugs, like just powder-packed capsules that are nothing, that are being sold as this and that. That's a real industry and a threat that happens in a lot of these countries also.
No, it's really scary.
Desperate people looking for medicine, and they buy something that's been packaged in fake drugs. And
that's why the testing, the other countries are a little more loose with that, but with testing and certifications, we have all the documentation to prove that we're pretty much the only pharmaceutical grade CBD there is out there, and all the pharmacies that are jumping on the cannabis bandwagon are buying our products.
Are you talking about in the U.S.?
Yeah, everywhere.
By who? Which federal agency?
No, it's actually going to be your private physicians, that type of thing, where they're not associated, where they don't have to go through anything. Anybody can take these products and put them on their shelves.
CBD is under no thumb of any agency at this point. No.
I mean, it's legal. They've made these
food and drug.
They've made these exceptions in these laws. They've made these exceptions for hemp products. We've been able to bring hemp products, industrial hemp products, whether it's clothing, whether it's food, oil, it doesn't matter. We've been able to bring these into the country for a very long time.
Yeah.
And what's sad about it is we're spending billions of dollars every single year, and we're sending it to other countries to produce these other products for us.
To ship it back.
To ship it back here so we can consume it, and it's okay to consume it, but we have to ship it from another country.
Yeah, it's like the opposite of NAFTA, of like outsourcing your work to import your product.
Yeah, same thing. So that's scary because we've put ourselves through so many years of that, and now we're 22 states or 23 states into it. Now we're realizing, we can at least grow it here, and it has to be studied by the university university and we can consume it here, but we can't ship it out of state lines. So that's a step forward, yes.
Right.
I agree with this law 100%, mainly because of the testing, because of the quality. We know that hemp can suck out a lot of stuff, toxic stuff out of the soil.
Yes.
And we don't know what our soils are being tested for. And if we don't know that, and we don't know what the end product's pulling out, well,
Yes.
then how do we know what we're putting in our body?
I mean, just on a slight sidetrack, I was listening to this guy speak about raw plant eating, about how dangerous it was, because plants, as a self-protective mechanism, because they
Yes.
can't run, produce chemicals. And that's how they ward off insects and other types of threats. And the cooking process, why are you laughing?
Because the raw thing, I was just going to say, I know about, you should always cook your vegetables, but my husband and I have a garden, and we have a greenhouse, and it's so hot in there, nothing will grow, but something was growing, and he ate it. Just put it.
Got sick.
He didn't get sick, but it was so bitter. And
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like,
What?
Yeah.
but I can see that because we called it, he's like, no wonder why the thing's so bitter, because it's growing in this angry, hot environment.
That's right.
So it's mad.
It's a self-defense mechanism
That's
that
right.
plants have. So when you eat raw vegetables, people can get sick.
It's absolutely
there's certain
amazing.
beans like fava beans and stuff they tell you don't eat too much of because the chemical it produces can kill you, can get
Yeah.
you sick. So that was just a sidetrack of
No, but it makes total sense.
broccoli also.
Too much broccoli in your diet can actually hurt your thyroid.
Yeah.
Too much raw broccoli.
I don't know
Yes.
if raw, but yeah, I think it might be raw.
That's correct.
So cook your vegetables, folks.
Oh, you think you're being healthy? Then you suddenly have a thyroid
If
problem.
you grow your own vegetables, and you're able to grow your own fruit, vegetables are a huge source of nutrients. If you grow them organically and you know the soil and the environment and everything, and you know how to do it and you do it properly, it can be the most healthy, and that's the best diet you can have. Bottom line, if you're raw, not cooking them raw, but if you grow it in the right environment, in the right soil.
Right.
So that's my whole point with hemp
Anger
is
greenhouse.
the hemp is like it's like just this plant on steroids, which it has its own self mechanism to penetrate or to ward off bugs, and you have to know where it's coming from. You have to know the testing and the certifications, if it's organic, if it's non-GMO, gluten-free. You have to know these things, and it's sad because we see so many people in America that just don't care, and they don't look at the labels, and they don't read into it, and they don't believe people like us when we sit there and tell them that's not true. You're telling me high fructose corn syrup's okay for you? It's not. It's so harmful. You have no idea, and that's what it does to some people's brains, is it makes them think it's okay, and then all of a sudden they, like you took it out of your diet and you lost 80 pounds.
Well, but there's a lot of other things that have been not wrong, but that I'm trying to figure out. And one of them is depression and anxiety. And so I've had my bouts of depression, which can be a huge trigger from your diet, from your nutrition. And then the other thing is, so then we go to the doctor and we're depressed or whatever, our mood, we're very moody. Then they give you a pill. Well,
Yeah.
then what happens when you take that pill? It disconnects your gut from your brain. So most people, or I don't know, maybe people are aware, but I didn't know this, that your gut feeds your brain.
Yeah.
So if we have an unhealthy gut, we have an unhealthy brain. And so when you go on antidepressants, disconnects that communication.
Yeah, sure.
And so now you're worse off now than you were before.
Yeah.
So then when you get off, you have to reconnect that.
Yeah.
And so a big part of my transformation of the year has been getting off of the antidepressants
Yep.
and reconnecting that. And my mood, like I said, I feel like I'm 20 again.
Yeah.
I felt so
That's
bad
great.
for so long. I didn't know I felt that bad.
Wow.
With that in mind of health and everything that of just being healthier, if I can still pin you down and say who's the target market, and you can't say, well, obviously everybody, because that's not a real answer.
It is a real answer, and that's what I would say, but it is everybody. But I'm promoting preventative health. I'm promoting getting back into the native state. There's other mechanisms you can use, other diets, that you can use to become how you are supposed to be, your maximum potential when it comes to health. Preventative is huge for me, especially because of the laws and because of the fact that we can't make medical claims. And most people ask me the question, what about this? What about that? And it's all about these diseases and injuries. Last time I talked to you almost 2 years ago, I had the same position. I had the handcuffs on and the duct tape on, and you can't make medical claims because it just takes one wrong, word or term, and it can shut the whole thing down. And that's really what the FDA and the people that really control the laws.
So let's take patient out of the equation.
Yeah.
Now who's left?
I would say the older generation, older people like my parents' age, maybe your parents' age. My mom's had a great success story with CBD over the last 2.5 years. She's lost, I think, 35 pounds. She hasn't really been on any special diets. We're Italian, so we like to eat greasy Italian food, and we eat a lot. So she lost all this weight. She's in a lot better, she has a lot better attitude. All these things we're talking about, and I attribute it to CBDs over the last 2.5 years.
You've been feeding her CBD.
She absolutely takes the CBD every day. She takes CBD capsules.
Unbeknownst to her in her oatmeal.
No. She's all good. She was a hippie. I my first 2 years, I was born in a bus, man. I was traveling around the world in a bus. So no, they're hippies. They're good. She's good. But no, she was all about it. When I told her take it, she took it. The first time she took it, it's almost been 3 years now, but she takes them religiously every single day because she sees the difference, the big difference. Now it's just a matter of, the balance. I mean, some people don't need as much with the nanotechnology. You don't need as much. Less is more because it's much more effective. And so that's what our message is to that older generation or the
I would support that because I have heard that the fastest growing demographic of entering the cannabis industry is coming from the retiring generation.
Yeah.
Those who used it when they were younger, stopped using it. Now they're old, they're sick or sickening.
Yeah.
And
you're right.
they're ready to explore other options because now they're living on fixed incomes or smaller incomes.
Yeah.
Medical care isn't as abundant as it used to be.
Yeah.
Right. But the other thing too is the aging population, or like the baby boomers, they're seeing all these but everybody had the lifestyle diseases, right? We're seeing type 2 diabetes, we're seeing fibromyalgia, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's. I mean, all of that stuff is running rampant. Yeah. And cannabis, CBD, the plant itself, hemp and cannabis, works with our body to heal our body in a natural way that these synthetic pills that they're on. So it goes hand in hand with creating a nutritious, thriving lifestyle.
Yes.
And that's what we have to work on.
Absolutely. Also with the older generation, I believe that they're a lot older than us, so I think they're a lot smarter than us. And they knew at one time that it was good. And they knew, and they're now really realizing the betrayal and, the prohibition and and reefer madness. And they realize it. And that's why the acceptance amongst that generation is so great and growing because they're finally like, oh, I knew it. I knew all along.
I agree with that statement. I would just rephrase it slightly. I would say they knew all along it was not harmful, and they're learning now how good it can be.
That's great.
In the same sense that it's basically saying the same thing. But I think people always knew it wasn't harmful. I just don't know how much they knew it was beneficial. And that's what's becoming more and more abundant. So we've established who's it for. Now here's the real question. Who's a good person to work for this company and sell these products like what you're doing and be involved in this industry?
I think the ideal person that represents a company like this or a product like this or a plant like this has to be passionate and believe in the plant 100%. There can't be any doubt, and they have to be continuously educating themselves because we know so little about it. We know that it's beneficial to us. We know a lot of the things that it can do, but there's so much more that we don't know. It's like the deep blue sea. There's just so much we don't know about it.
It keeps going and going.
It does. It keeps going. And you think about all the years that we had all these synthetic prescriptions and all the harm we've done. The percentage of harm that we've done versus the benefits that we've created with the medical and health department right now is like the ratio is so off balance.
Okay.
It's disgusting.
So number one is you got to be dedicated. You got to be into it, and it's got to kind of be your life, the whole hemp CBD thing. Number two, is there an age requirement?
I believe there is. I'd have to check with the company and corporate and find out exactly. I know that anybody can take the product. As far as representing the company, I believe there's going to be an age requirement on that.
As far as minimum age?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah,
probably 18 or something.
Although
right?
I'm
Maybe 21.
I'm teaching my 9-year-olds. I mean, they're going to be really good salespeople. I mean,
what do you teach them about what you're selling?
They know everything. Well, they don't know everything, but I teach them everything that I can.
Are you an open cannabis parent?
So it depends on what you call open, because I don't partake in front of them. Yeah, I don't consume as far as smoking in front of them. They've seen me do different vapor apparatuses before, and I've been straight up with them and told them, it's CBD.
Right.
So that's something that they know. They've seen me do. They know I do.
Right.
And they take the oil. They take the oil every day. They drink the water. We have a gummy now that has CBD. It's a CBD vitamin gummy. Okay. So I give the vitamins to them. And they've been on the CBDs for almost 3 years now, and I don't remember them even being sick.
Do you try to distinguish what you're selling with marijuana, or do you just... Do you? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So cannabis and hemp, you know, the difference between the two, and I tell them THC, CBD, one's for getting high, one's for getting healthy. And I do associate cannabis, THC, with drugs, but I let them know there are some good drugs. And I let them know that there's age requirements for some of those drugs because it can be harmful. So they know that it can be harmful like alcohol if you're too young.
Right.
You can have too much and you can get very sick and possibly die. So they know these things. And I'm very open with them when it comes to the education because I don't want them to be growing up in a society where people are so misled to believe certain things and they believe them until the day they die.
Yeah.
And it's usually 20 or 30 years too soon because of what they believed.
That's how I tell my daughter also, drugs are bad, medicine's good.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And I don't like to use the word drugs because it does sound bad, you know, and you look at all the drugs that we've called good, like the prescriptions, and they're just not good. And so you do associate
Good
the
is
word drug.
bad, bad is good.
So you know, and again, we're using these terms, you know, like I was taught a little while back that, you know, we're not really even using marijuana anymore because that was actually the slang that went with the blacks and the Mexicans that would rape the women when they used cannabis.
Marijuana is a colloquial Mexican word.
Yeah. So I don't mind using it, but I be careful how I use it. So I like to distinguish the two as cannabis and, you know, even sativa and, you know, or indica, but saying cannabis and hemp because hemp is grown for CBD and it was really just marijuana bred with THC out, and then they call it hemp. So, you know, you have really the same plant. It's just bred differently. Yeah, the children need to know the difference because a lot of people are moving to Colorado in these states, you know, to get high and claim it's for medical reasons, but it's all about getting high and having fun and whatever you want to do. That's great. I'm not going to tell you what to do, but we need to educate on the medical benefits, the medicinal properties of the plant.
Well, I appreciate you taking that little sidebar with me there, but I guess that highlights point number 3. You can be a parent and work for the company, right? Without any shame.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't have any shame at all. You know, this is something I'm going to be doing for a long time and learning and educating the whole time. So, yeah.
If somebody likes what they hear and is interested, where can they get a hold of you? Where can they reach out and either learn about the products or learn about maybe working for the company?
I would say the best way to get a hold of me would be through Facebook. I do most of my work and communication, social media through Facebook. You can look me up under Damon D'Amico from Brighton, Colorado.
Might want to spell that.
I'm going to spell it for you. So it's Damon, and the last name is Damico. And if you punch in Brighton, Brighton, Colorado, you'll find me. You can also look up Colorado CBD Connection. If you look up Colorado CBD Connection, just hit the join button and I'll add you to the group and you can get the information there as well.
Very nice. Well, I appreciate you coming down to the studio today, showing us all your products, giving us some insight to the new CBD nanotechnology. All right. I'm going to be the first person to use that at all my parties.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome.
Matter of fact, I have a party tonight. I'll start a conversation.
Yeah, bring the water bottle. Yeah.
Very cool, man. Keep us updated on what's going on and make sure to come back at least once a year.
Oh, yeah, definitely. I'd like to do it more often. Thank you for the opportunity. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you, you too.
Bye. Thanks.
That's all I got for you this week, Cannapreneurs. Thank you for listening in, and thank you to everybody that's been supporting this community over the years. Keep following us after the show on all the social media, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Massroots. We're out there. You can find us just about anywhere, even YouTube. So make sure to come back next week and join us for another show where we'll be discussing more topics, interviewing more guests, and this is getting bigger because of you. We'll see you next week.